All right, so tonight we're looking at the story of Moses. Last term I spoke about the 10 plagues and how those plagues were made to demote the gods of Egypt, and tonight we're continuing the story because Moses is a massive story, so we only got to the part they about to leave Egypt. And so this is where the Israelites, Pharaoh's finally said, all right, get out of here, go. And so they're free, and away they go. For a while, at least anyway, before God hardens Pharaoh's heart again, and they come chasing him. What I kind of find this story it's an interesting one, because you look at it, you read it, and you think, man, these Israelites are just ungrateful and unthankful, and what's wrong with them? But we're going to look a bit more into that and how we're actually quite similar. But so the slaves, they're all free, they're not slaves anymore, they got to the Red Sea, and they're all right, cool, now we're... And then Pharaoh's armies come racing down, and the first thing these guys revert to is, we should have stayed in Egypt. We would have died there, at least we would have been full, we're going to die out in the desert now. What have you done for us? And they're just completely ungrateful, unthankful for being let out and just not trusting Moses, not trusting God, just, nope, this is a waste of time. We got how far? Now we're going to die. And in saying that, the Israelites, the one reason they get so upset about things is, and how they revert back to the better off being slaves, for 400 years they've been slaves. All they know is slavery. All they know is how to be treated badly. All they know is that we work all day, hard work all day, get food, go to bed, wake up, work hard all day. That's all they've ever known. So the slightest hint, bit of trouble, and they just revert back to what's normal. And I'm sure we can relate in some ways. So for me, for example, a story of mine, I actually asked Jessica if I could share this, is when I started dating Jessica, I don't know, 2 years ago now almost, it was quite challenging for me the reason it was pretty challenging to start with, because my normal was very different to Jessica's normal. My normal life was pretty relaxed actually, now that I'm married and got a kid and whatever else. Even before I was married, it was quite challenging. My normal was I'd work at home with Dad, pretty casual, wake up at 9 o'clock, walk out to the workshop, do work till about 5:30, got to the house, have a beer with Dad, sit down, watch TV, go to bed. Mum did my dishes, Mum did my laundry, Mum made lunch, Mum did everything almost. It was so easy, and I didn't realise how lazy I was, but Mum just offered to do it. I wasn't like, hey Mum, can you do this? Mum just did it, and I was like, all right. Yeah, do that, because that's like, Jono's still at home, so that'd be great. Good thinking. So my normal was actually quite lazy now that I think about it. I thought I'd work all day, done my job, and I'd go home and relax with Dad, and Dad would sometimes cook dinner anyway. But my normal was very relaxed, very easy, whereas Jessica's normal was the complete opposite. At a young age, she had Kira, and so she was a mum, she had to clean, she had to cook, she had to pay bills, pay rent, do everything that my mum did for me, basically. And so when we started dating, there was all this conflict. Like, she'd be like, oh, how come you can't not doing this? And I'm like, because I just don't. Mum does it. And it was quite challenging for me to, and in those moments, it was very hard for me not just be like, well, this is too challenging, this is too much, I'm going to go back home to my little safe zone. But I knew if I went back to that safe zone, our relationship wouldn't have gone any further. In fact, we wouldn't be where we are right now. And we'd get through that one thing, I'm like, yeah, we got through it, we're done, easy. Something else came up. And again, and again. And for a while, my mind was telling me, oh, she's trying to change you. Well, no, she was just picking up on things that you're just lazy, not doing right. Like, if I want to be a husband and a father, and I can't even do these things right, it's actually quite confronting for me. But it was good, because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And so going back to the Israelites, so they get there, they're at the Red Sea, they're panicking, what are we going to do? We're doomed, we're going to die in the desert, just complaining. And Moses puts his rod in the stuff in the water, and they witnessed what I reckon would be one of the greatest miracles in the Bible. Like, it's just phenomenal. We just watched the thing in junior youth in front of the Prince of Egypt, and just seeing that visually the water's just split in half, and they just walked through. And something that John actually touched on a while ago, I'm not sure if it was during the message here, but was in person somewhere, but he's like, they walked across. Now, lakes aren't just solid underneath, this sand and mud and stuff, they didn't go through and just had to go through the bog. They walked safely across. No mud, no muck, no sand, straight across. That's pretty amazing. That's something I just didn't think of, but it's pretty cool. And so yeah, then that happened, like, stunned, as you would be. I'd imagine they would have been breathless and speechless and just, what's happening? And they were able to walk through. All the complaining stopped, funnily enough. Okay, we can walk across. All good. And our life is quite similar. Again, we get to these moments where it's hard, we're stuck, what do? Let's just revert back to what we know. And everyone else saying that's a normal for them. And it's natural to go back to what you know. You talk to anybody, and like alcoholics, for example, they drink and drink and drink, and when they make breakthroughs, something happens in their life that's not great, they revert back to that, because that's what they know. It's safe, it's normal. And you might have things in your life that I'm not sure what they are, but there's something that in your life that you can revert to as a safe place. And I was challenged very much into destroying that safe place, basically, and pushing through to something better. And when we trust God, things will get better. We will witness amazing things happen. It might not be the water splitting and stuff, but for me, the amazing thing that happened was that I got married, which is amazing. And for those of you who don't know, we're expecting a baby too now, which is even more amazing. Thank you. And so that's beyond amazing. Like, so I got to marry the girl I love, the woman I love, and I got a daughter right away too, and I got another one coming, which is very exciting. And then, so they're on the other side of the sea now. They're safe. Enemies, the Egyptians have been defeated. They're gone out of the equation, and they're celebrating. Yeah, we're free. But then we've all read the story, and it comes to the whole cycle of complaining, God's wrath, thankfulness, and that goes on for 40 years. Where they get saved, something amazing happens, and they go, oh yeah, God's so good. That's done. Oh, we're in the wilderness. Oh, we got nothing to eat. Oh, where's the meat? Oh, in Egypt we had this. In Egypt we had pots of food we could get filled up on. And it's just this cycle that goes round and round. After, like, Moses hits a rock at one stage and water comes out. Like, a pillar of fire comes down during the night, a pillar of smoke during the day. Like, all these things they witness. And most of us read that and go, man, these Israelites are pretty dumb. What's wrong with them? But then I was kind of thinking a bit, and are we any different to the Israelites? Can we confidently say that when things in life go well, that's it, life's good? Or do we get those moments where it's like, oh, this is hard, God, what's happening? And do we go through this endless cycle of, yay, oh, this isn't great, and around again? Do we not get upset and things and go through the same things? So how do we fix that problem, or at least make it more consistent, not a circle and more of a line that kind of goes a bit more straight or upwards towards God rather than, yeah, God, nah, well, yeah, maybe in trying to figure things out. And I've got a story I want to tell before I get into that part. A while ago, I think it was my 21st birthday, my family bought me a ticket to drive a V8 supercar ute around Malala for 8 laps, and then 2 hot laps of the driver, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. Hopped in the car, and I'm pretty sure I got wheel spin on the way out of the pits. I wasn't meant to do that, but I did. It was pretty fun. And I was a bit disappointed though, because I got there, I was wearing all my HRT gear, Holden Racing Team, and they put me in the Ford. So devastated. You got to be kidding me. Oh, I didn't feel very lucky. But I did get to drive a supercar, and despite what you say, there's not much difference between the performance of those cars. It's just, I like Holden. That's all it was. And so I got in this car, and the guy's like, yep, he's going to show me the first lap. See that cone? Aim for that cone. Then brake, accelerate, gear change, accelerate, brake. And all these things going through my head. I'm like, oh, right. So I was going along, and yep, gear changing right, braking right, taking the right line. And all these things you've got to think about: acceleration, braking, gear changing, turning, looking who's around. And it's so much process. Eventually I was like, hey, I got this. And I was flying around. I think I overtook a car who was in front of me, who's gone a bit slower. And the driver's like, pull to the left. I'm like, why? He goes, you're about to get overtaken. I was like, what? And I was on the main straight where you get to 180 Ks. I was doing 140. And I was like, what? And I was so in my little, caught up, all the little things I had to do. I got so relaxed. I was like, yep, I got this. I completely forgot to accelerate just an extra 40 kilometres an hour, and before I know it, I got take. And then I was pretty determined to catch that spot back up, and so I figured out what I'd done wrong, and I worked on it, and I caught him up towards the end. The reason I say that is life is very similar. Not that we should go out and, it probably would be cool to get supercars and drive around and all, but in our life we've got so many things that we've got to work on. If we let one thing slip, you'll notice life going down. And I kind of pinpointed this to 3 major things in my life. If I focus on these 3 things, my life just is good. It's good. And those things are the Bible, reading the Bible constantly, prayer constantly, and community. Those 3 things. It's like when I decided, going around this track, I completely forgot about accelerating, in which case I felt myself just fall behind. And the scriptures that back up all these things, and one of them we got from Philippians 4 chapter 6 says, "Don't worry about anything, instead pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank him for all he has done." Well, that's praying. And if you pray for everything, what's going to go wrong? You know? But then it says in Matthew 18 verses 20, "For where 2 or 3 are gathered as my followers, I am there among them." So that's a sense of community right there. If you've got a tight community, God's going to be there. Again, not going anywhere. And then Psalms 119 verse 105, "Your word is a lamp to guide my feet and a light for my path." So the word is literally our path. It's right there. We've got everything we need right in front of us. And if we just, we got the community down right, we got the Bible down right, but if we're lacking on the prayer side of things, you can't notice a shift. And when I was in the Barossa Valley, I felt this because I was in the Barossa Valley leading on youth groups for quite a while, and then God told me to leave. And I was like, okay, so I was in limbo for a little while. I think it was only a couple of weeks, but those couple of weeks I didn't have a very good community, and I just felt life kind of spiraling down a bit, like I couldn't figure it out until I thought of my 3, because this is something I realised a long time ago, and I was like, wait. And then I came to Golden Grove here, and God's like, "You're going to be here." Yep, that's it, and I'm here. And it kind of just went back up again. Sorry. So, I guess what I get from this is that, yes, the Israelites seem like a complaining mob, but I don't think we're any different. I don't think anyone in this room can be like, "Actually, Paul, I am. I've got it all down pat." But I guess you've got to just be okay with finding out those faults in your life, finding out what's dragging you down and what's forcing you back to your safe zone. And for me, my safe zone was the relaxed life I had at home, pretty chill, didn't have to do much. And I got challenged all the way through till now, and even still I'm getting challenged. It's not something that you just get a clean slate and you're like, "Yep, life is good." We're getting more challenges now as we're married. We're together more often, all the time actually, so there's more things that pop up that might frustrate us. I do this, she does that, whatever it might be. But if you're just going to just revert back to your safe spot, you may as well not be in a relationship, because you're going to be this couple that just don't talk, and it's going to be years of tolerance rather than years of flourishing and growing and moving forward. So my encouragement for you guys tonight is, find that community around you. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable and chat to each other. Find out what's going on. Find someone you can be accountable to. That's another thing. I was never good at talking about my feelings or talking about what's going on, and Jessica picked up on that. Guess what? Challenge. And now it's good. I'm finding people I can chat to. Not great yet, but I'm working on talking to people about things and getting things off my chest, which is very important. So I guess, find yourself a safe community that you feel you can chat to, challenge each other, and don't run away from the challenges. Don't be like, it's hard. Life is going to be hard. And you can't just run away and duck and hide. Because then you find yourself, you can't move, you can't just stay stationary. You can move towards God, you can move away from God. You can't just stand still. That doesn't work. So I just encourage you guys to find that place or that person or that group, and keep those 3 things in your life, and I guarantee things will go well. Let me pray with us. Pray for you all. Hey God, thank you again so much for the amazing word that you have for us. Thank you for all these amazing history lessons we can get from the Bible, and even some that just seem so far away and so long ago that they don't seem too irrelevant, but how your word is always speaking in every single moment. There's not one part of the Bible that's going to just be irrelevant, God. And thank you that we can draw to these stories and from the experience of such incredible leaders before us and to become incredible leaders ourselves. Help us to get through the normal parts of life that aren't really that great, the safeness and the familiarity that we run to when things get tough. I just pray that the Spirit inside of all of us just really awakens and that we can push through barriers, push through negative thoughts and just pursue you more and more every day and not even let Satan get a sniff of what we're after and just keep him out of the equation completely. Praise in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.